Well, I want to welcome you here today. I'm thrilled to be here to announce that we have completed Phase 1 and Phase 2 of our Interconnect project. The Interconnect project was a project that started back in 1993 with the express goal of synchronizing the traffic lights and traffic control systems. For anybody who has driven through our city between 1993 and about 6 months ago, there have been constant complaints about traffic lights that don't work, are unsynchronized, and being the only car on South Salina Street and seeing some lights green, some lights red. Through the hard work of our Department of Public Works and our employees here, I am pleased to tell you that that no longer is true. This means that we have signals at 159 intersections that are now at the conclusion of Phase 2. We took Phase 2 as the opportunity to bring the project into the 21st century, so we added Ethernet protocols and redundancies to the system. Redundancies in this case are a very good thing, because if one system goes down, that means we have another in place, and obviously traffic control systems are one of the most important services that we provide for the public. So the Interconnect improves commute times. We have seen commuters using downtown on North Salina Street have had their travel time decreased by 44%. Delays at intersections on this commute have decreased 81%, and the corridor speed has increased to 79%. This is a prime example of how commutes and going across the city with the chart that I have right here has dramatically improved. And again, we are pleased to announce this today, but many people who have driven through the city of Syracuse in the last 6 months have seen this on their own and have noticed it. This also, of course, improves not just commutes, but carbon emissions, and it's better for our ability to deliver services. The system also allows us to make adjustments in case of special events, like St. Patrick's Day.
Yes,
Like St. Patrick's Day, like basketball games, or if there were ever a need for an evacuation or an emergency, this system allows us to control that. Additionally, as you can see behind me, 11 of our intersections have closed circuit television monitoring, and this helps us determine when and where we have the highest congestion, and when and where we may be able to put traffic or pedestrian signals on automatic settings or manual controls to adjust that in real time. One of the things that this system also does, however, is collect data for traffic conditions. As all of you know, this has been a hallmark of my administration, to collect data and to use it as we make decisions. The Interconnect is no Interconnect is no exception to this. We were able to expand the system and make it work as efficiently as possible when we use all of the data and aggregate this information about conditions. So I am pleased to be here with the Commissioner of the Department of Public Works, who did yeoman's effort to get this really complicated project done, and we are thrilled that it's done, but most importantly, the work speaks for itself, and the people who have driven the streets of our city have seen that work and how it has improved an important public service in our community. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. The tough ones, I'm going to, of course, call up Commissioner O'Connor to answer. So.
The timeline was what? Like Phase 1 was what? How long did that last?
Well, Phase 1 started in 1993, yes, and this came out of the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, where it was judged based on that Onondaga County was falling short of that. So combined with traffic congestion and stop-and-go traffic, the city of Syracuse was determined that something had to be done. The first thing that they talked about was enhancing communication between signals and a central dispatch that would improve the flow of traffic and respond in real time to congestion, accidents, emergencies. But what happened between that sort of first phase and where we are now is that there's been a complete and almost total revolution in technology, as all of you know. So we have had to work double time, not just improving this in phase 2, but bringing everything that was in phase 1 up to a certain standard so it could communicate with the devices that we installed in phase 2. And then, as I said earlier, using phase 2 as an opportunity to add redundancy in there and to put the highest and best level of technology into these systems. As any of you know who have iPhones, you know, every 6 months you're getting an update. So imagine how we had to update the technology from 1993. But we were able to do that through the work of our engineering department, our DPW, and our contractors.
And this will be, phase 2 started when?
About 2003 is when we started all the paperwork process, and then we have to go through funding, you know, to become eligible for the funding. And then there was design issues, you know, it gets designed, and then there's the actual construction out in the street.
Do you have an estimate of the funding, or how much?
This phase 2
Yeah.
was about $9.1 million. And I think it's very important to keep in mind that what that entails is not just what you see here, which is very high tech, but it also gets you new traffic signal poles, new signal heads, new controllers, new traffic boxes out in the street, new loops in the street, countdown pedestrian timers, which is something we didn't even have in the original interconnect, and now we're upgrading all those to countdown pedestrian timers also. So as the mayor said, it's all the latest and greatest technology.
So this is done.
It's done.
There's nothing more to come.
No, there is a phase 3, and look, with all technology, you're going to continue to have to upgrade it and modernize it as new technology becomes available. And what this will also do is allow us to work in with some of our other partners who are interested in using data to do other types of sensory projects. So this is just a first step. So this is going to be just a continuous improvement.
Is the ultimate goal to have them on every intersection, every stoplight, or?
Some of the ones that are maybe out, you know, like way outside, not outside the city, but the furthest extensions of the city, we want them if they're on the busy street like South Line Street or Seneca Turnpike, or maybe Hiawatha Boulevard, something like that. But if it was maybe like you know, one street up in Tip Hill, let's go with the famous green light. That might not be on the interconnect. You know?
Just because it's low traffic?
Just because it's low traffic and it's kind of away from the heavy travel routes, the main connectors.
That's one of the side benefits, I would imagine, with all of what's going on 690 and the potential for what's happening in 81, this could actually help to alleviate some of it, because it's gonna get ugly, and it already is at some point.
Hugely, hugely. And again, you see that whether it's a, you know, Syracuse University basketball game or a football game, events at the Dome, the monster truck. I mean, this allows us to, you know, really control where we know there's going to be huge traffic congestion.
Can I comment on that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You know, in regards to that question also, in our meetings with New York State DOT for the 81 project, they are going to be doing maintenance protection traffic plans, and they're going to be adjusting their signals that they control. And I have requested, and they have agreed, for when their engineers do their timings, they will do our timings also, so it all stays nice and smooth flowing, nice and consistent. And they've agreed to that.
It seems like you're trying to get people moving faster and everything, but sometimes do you get concerned, especially in this day and age when there's so many car pedestrian accidents? And do you want the, you know, speed up 69% when, you know, people are getting hit a lot more than they used to, and how do you deal with that?
Well, you know, New York State has a lot to say about that, and particularly the Department of Transportation follows the data very, very closely. And so they watch the data as we do too. If we see that there's an uptick in pedestrian and car accidents, or, you know, this allows us to look and say, you know, there's a lot of bikes in September September through May, through Mother's Day, that use Euclid Ave. And so should we slow down cars on Euclid Ave because of the bikes, the high degree of people using bike traffic. So it gives us a lot more control, but importantly, along with that control, it gives us a huge cachet of data to answer that very question that you have, and to then be able to control it and change it if the data justifies that.
And also for the pedestrians, that's why we go with the pedestrian countdown timers now, which is relatively new. They weren't in the, as I said, the original interconnect, and, that helps pedestrians also. It lets them know, don't go out on the road, you only have X amount of seconds before it's gonna change.
The 20% increase in the number of stops on Finn Street southbound, that seems like the only one where the number of stops increased, is that?
And that was kind of done on purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason for that was because we had numerous complaints, and we found that they were definitely true, that there was illegal speeding on Clinton Street, because it was so well timed, and it's such a wide street, one way, that they were going too fast. So we did that on purpose to slow them down and make it safer for pedestrians and everybody.
Yeah, was there a reduction in the number of pedestrian crashes or something like that? Did you?
That
Okay,
I'm not
that
sure
is-
of yet.
that's okay.
I'm not sure of that.
Seems like a big brother. I don't know, you're controlling how fast you go and how long it takes to get somewhere.
Oh, come on, Ellen. You're carrying around an iPhone recording us. That's pretty big, brother. A radio reporter who worries about that. Look, it is, what I think that this does is, for years and years and years, people have complained about the fact that they could be in downtown on a Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock and not see another car around, and yet there be one green light, 3 red lights, 1 green light, 3 red lights. Now, let me say 2 things about that. The first is that doesn't happen anymore. Downtown is bustling all the time. And the second is that you are seeing synchronized lights. So when you come down East Genesee Street to go downtown, you can see all of the lights being synchronized at the same time. And so this is efficient, and it's effective, and it's a way for us to, once again, use the resources that we have to collect data to make people's quality of life better.
I'm not sure if this was, I wasn't here obviously at the
Yeah,
time. for
I
your
was
initial-
so eloquent before you arrived, Brett. It's really sad that you missed it. Sorry, buddy. Right.
Yeah, well,
People are crying over traffic lights. It was
Anyway.
amazing.
I'm not sure if it was an issue in your first campaign about traffic lights, but here you are, 2 months left in your final term, and yesterday you announced code enforcement, today you announced this. Is this a testament to how long it takes to get things done in modern democracy?
No, I've been announcing things, I think, every week for the 8 years that I've been mayor. But good work deserves a thoughtful process before it. We're not just going to stand up and say that we could get this done. Look, as Pete said, we had to ask for countdown timers. That wasn't a thought. The technology that there's been a revolution in technology almost every week. And so we've had some technology that at the time was cutting edge in 1993. That's far from where it is now. So we had to bring that up to speed. We had to get the new technology in. We had to test the new technology. Then we had to make sure that it communicated with each other. We had to make sure that it could withstand our winters and withstand the salt. So this is a testament to good work, thoughtful planning, that when you give it the necessary time and energy, it's going to end up benefiting the people of the city of Syracuse.
When you measured the changes over time, so like for Genesee Street, you measured the entire length of that street, or was it just a section, or could you just generally describe that?
Okay, well, basically, we ourselves, city staff, did not do those measurements at all. Those measurements are required by federal highway and New York State DOT, and you have to meet those requirements of reductions and all these other levels that they want you to meet, because if you don't, you can lose your funding. So we don't do that by us going out and counting cars and saying, boy, they're moving well. We have some engineers do that, and they have a format that they have to follow per federal highway and New York State DOT specs. And they did that, and they met the goals.
And that was by counting cars, like you said, or could you just
No,
describe the methodology?
it's measuring time at signals, length of the trip calculations, pedestrians crossing. Also, they had to meet by meeting those standards, it also proves that there's a reduction in emissions and cleaner air.
Is there a number about the reduction in emissions at all, or?
Actually, I thought it was in the information. If it's not, we can get that.
But you're measuring the entire length of each of these streets? Like
The
it's a-
entire length of every part of the interconnect, the original and the Phase 2 expansion.
And you know, connecting this to I know that the Centro's, you know, thinking those fast buses and fast
Yep.
lanes and things along those times. Will this work into that somehow as well?
We've been working with Centro on that for quite a few years, actually through the SMTC, Syracuse Metropolitan Transportation Council. That they've come to us, and the systems that they had that they were trying to put in on our system weren't doing they weren't compatible. They're working on things, as the mayor said, technology changes all the time. They're working on things that maybe will be compatible with us and will help it work, and we are definitely open to possibly having, faster bus lanes. And it would work in this system.
When did this movement online? I mean, has it been this way for?
It actually, as the mayor said, that project started in 1993, but the room itself was kind of built in the 90s,
Yep.
and it was turned over to us in 2000, the year 2000. I happen to know that because I started in 2000. It was my first project. And I said, what? But, so 2000, this was turned over to us, and then at that time, we immediately started going for more federal funds to expand to phase 2.
Are these cameras recording, or are they just monitoring?
No, we don't record, because then we spend all our time in court for the police department.
But if there was some issue, could you? I mean, if,
Does it crash or something?
yeah.
The answer, as a soon-to-be recovering lawyer, is no.
Yes. If we did see something, we would call it in.
Yeah.
You know, if we saw something happen on these cameras, we would immediately call 911 or the police if we saw a crime.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Mike. Good job.
Well done, sir, well done, thank you.